Good evening, everybody. This is NCP. Thought I'd give you a little update. I've been learning skills instead of doing. So I'm haven't did anything on the fallout slash tornado shelter. I've watched a lot of videos and learned as much as I think I can, but I needed physical, to do it physically. So what I did is I talked to some of my friends that do construction, and I said, "Look, I want to come out and I want to put some cinder blocks. I want to lay them in a fence type scenario." And he said, "Well, first off, they're called they don't call them cinder anymore. They're masonry or concrete masonry units, CMUs." Okay, well, all right, great. So I said, "Look, I know I'm probably going to slow you down a bit, but I'll go out and I'll give you 2 days free labor, Saturday and Sunday, and just show me what to do." So he said, "All right, you guys come by the job site." I said, "I'm by the job site," and they were building a basement, but the principle's still the same because it was away from they moved the foundation away. So I laid a first course, which took me about 100 times longer than the professionals, right? So I slowed down a little bit, right? I laid out maybe, I don't know, 10 blocks for the basement wall, the foundation, and then a couple other ones and how to plumb them and how to make it set up and how to read the tape measure for that, which I guess is different because they're not really 16-inch blocks or an 8-inch core or 4 or 8-inch cores. I forget whatever it is, but so they showed me how to do that and how they're actually tape measures actually have the marks in there for that, which I've done so much work I never even thought about it. I just thought that was for 16 inches on centers, but I didn't know it dealt with that too. Anyway, so that's another story. But I went out and I give them 2 days free labor, and in return I've got practical experiences. For example, I know now to wear gloves because I don't have any fingerprints left on 2 of my fingers. I learned that there's webbing on the bricks where it's kind of made to pick it up because the webbing is like a little thicker on the top side. It doesn't really matter in the real world, but on top side, how to pick up the bricks and move them without killing myself. I learned how to get the right. Well, I learned how to get the mixture right on the mortar or concrete. So it's like a kind of like a almost ready to melt butter. So I was doing that and scooping it and sticking it to the trowel and did that. One part I was sitting there with the board. Well, they put on a board and just put the mortar on there, and I would sit there and just pick it up, drop it, pick it up, drop it. Butter the side. Well, run it down the side where you make it stick. They call that buttering. And I just did a lot of that. And I would have screwed a lot of things up. I mean, there's one thing saying, "Oh, watch some guy doing it." Okay, well, watching and doing aren't the same thing. So I'm probably going to start on it tomorrow and actually, get it out there and mix it up and start building the first course out here in the shelter. And one thing they did I thought was kind of neat. They ran through one of the cores. They ran the electrical. And I thought, that's a good idea, because I was wondering how I was going to get electrical inside this thing. Because no, in reality, a storm shelter in North Carolina is going to be used, I don't know, once, maybe a year. I don't know. You don't really need them, but for a fallout shelter, it'll never be used like that. I'm sure of it. But whatever. So I'm going to have power in there, and one thing I'm going to do with it is I may actually EMP proof it a little bit, or really not EMP, but since underground, but more electromagnetic interference. And I want to put a little server down there, a little server rack, and run ham radio down there and just do the hardware part of it. and I keep it protected from EMF and a lot of other electromagnetic interference. EMF, sorry. So I'll have power in there. I'll have the battery charging in there, and that way everything will be good. And they'll have a extra way to run solar. So what they're doing is running a EMT conduits, something metal something. I forget what it's called. But I might use PVC. I don't know. I'll have to see what I have here. But I'm going to run that down in there, and on one of the lower things, probably about 4 feet up in the ground, I guess, I'll take and I might actually put an outlet, a 4 outlet. It's called a 4 gang box. An outlet. I'll chip it out of the cement, or chip it out, or cut it out. Literally cut it out of one of the concrete masonry units, and have an outlet there, and then I'll run another one with just an outlet, maybe like a drain pipe, a small one, maybe like 2-inch or something, and then I'll have room to run coax or whatever else I'll do in the future. One thing I learned about doing cable, unlike the one that's out there that isn't buried for the antenna, is you always run more than you think you need, so you don't have to dig it up next time. So I'll go ahead and put that in and just have it out on the roof. And there's a junction box I put up there on top on the roof when I did the electrical out there. So I'll just run a tap off that, and it's a 20 amp outlet. So and it's got a bunch of plugs on it, but nothing's ever used on that. At least more than one thing at a time. So I can sit there and keep the battery charged, maintained, and solar, and have it switch on and off. And well, when I put the solar panels out, I'm thinking I'm gonna, if I put them back here in the backyard, that's gonna be around, I don't know, let's say 150 feet from the shelter. Now, DC is not very forgiving for connection and such, so I looked it up. It's like probably about $200 in a cable. Now, if I got 2 solar panels right now, 200-watt panels. If I take and put them together and make it a 24 volts out, I can reduce the panels. If I get more, I'll go 36 and 48 volts. So if I do 48 volts, I can use a much thinner gauge wire. And it's going to be expected with the same thing. So just higher voltage, thinner wire, same amp type thing. So it'll equal out the same. It'll still be same watt. So 4 panels at 4 panels at 12 volts each is 24 volts. So that'll give me 100 watts at 48 volts versus 400 watts at 12 volts. It kind of works out the same-ish, And I'm assuming their peak efficiency, and all kinds of other stuff. So, but that'd be a lot cheaper to run. The other option is I can just weld up a frame for the 2 panels at a probably what you call it, bed frame, L bracket, I guess, L something. That may have bed frames. You take that and just set that on a pole right outside, and we're like 6 feet until we're inside, and then but then I put them in front of the house. I don't want to do that. If there is a bad scenario, I don't want to do that. But on the other hand, anything I put out here is going to be within range of a tree falling. So out front, no. Well, I forgot front too, but it probably hit the house and has to come down through all these other courses of bricks on my brick house. So it probably stopped before it got there and smashed my panels. And the panels can be set up before fallout gets here. The 7 pole, go. Which wouldn't be ideal because they'd only get morning sun, but how much do you need to run a radio occasionally? And like I said, I'll put a Raspberry Pi down there with maybe a hat on it for a screen or a small screen. And that'll take care of everything I need. And I got some fire tablets which I would take with me, and that would pretty much we could watch movies on it, we could do whatever, and just recharge up the 12 volt battery. a deep cycle one gel cell I have. I use my ham radio stuff now, but I get a one or two more of those, and that's, you know, gosh, that's like 1600 amps. So that'll charge the cell phone more than once or twice. So you can see we have enough power if you're doing low power. I probably have a couple LED lights in there, which I might just repurpose one of the old Harbor Freight ones I have and just put it there with a buck converter or something, or just wire it up. I don't know, but or maybe light strips. I got some of those too, LED strips, but they're straight 12 volt and stuff. It just runs straight across. But I'm getting into planning. The point is, I gave a guy a weekend of free labor, and I learned this very valuable skill set. Now I'm gonna put that skill set into use. So if you guys want to learn something and you don't want to go to college for it, just for a one-time skill set, or grab our construction sites. Hey man, I'll give you a day for free. You know, my dad taught me that trick when he was when he first got out of the Navy. Old time story now. He first got out of the Navy. He was got a job as a forklift driver, and he didn't know how to drive a forklift. And he had a box of bolts, and he spilled them everywhere, and said, "Man, this isn't the kind of forklift I was trained on." But he learned how to drive a forklift. You know, it wasn't relevant to construction over the years, but he could drive one. You know, after that, he's like, "I'll give you, whenever you want a job, he said, I'll give you a day for free. And if you don't like me, we'll part as friends, and that's it. You know, no skin." My dad was never out of work. I think he said in his whole life he drew one unemployment check. Years and years after he retired, people were still calling him and asking him if he'd run side jobs or run a job for them or do something. Because my dad would always take the jobs he didn't know how to do, and he would learn. We had this one job, we do pickup work for this guy, would like scrap buildings and then he would resell the hardware to the new buildings, and then we'd have to make it work. So I'd go with him on these jobs and we'd learn all kinds of stuff. It's like, I don't know how this works. And there was no YouTube back then. You just figure it out. But you know, this is why I can do stuff here in my home, because my father taught me this. And what I don't know, I know how to look up or why. You know. But long story short, it's easy to learn skills, and this video is mostly about how you can acquire skills cheaply, you know, and keeping my channel alive. It's been about 2 weeks, but yeah, just go to, if you want to learn this, go to a construction site, and that way you get to use their materials. And if it's wrong, the guy can correct it right there, so there's no harm. Like, you didn't put enough stuff on this, enough mortar on the CMU. Oh, okay. Well, see this here? This needs to be 3/8 of an inch for a gap. Your mortar is based on this. If this is next too thin, you put the next course or next row on top of it, it messes up. And here's how you use this line and this and that. It's like, oh, I didn't know that, you know. But, you know, people go to school for this, and that's all taught in school. But I'm just building a shelter. I need the roof not to crush, which concrete is very strong in, I guess, compression. But under tension, where it flexes, it's not so great. So I learned a tremendous amount. And, you know, if you guys want to learn something, do it. You guys want free food? Hey, when I was younger, and I had a lot of money in college, I used to go around and say, you know, I'll pick up all your oranges and stuff in your yard, fruits and stuff. And I supplemented income for a lot of us on the whole floor, on the dorms, the whole floor. But I just had free food because I'd pick up whatever fell down that's fresh. I kept it, and they were happy, and it was free. You know, we had apples, oranges, all kinds of stuff. I just got the free food. But there's work for those that want to. Times are hard right now, but nature doesn't care. So I don't know what's in season now, other than apparently pine cones and weeds, because I don't do anything. If I'm out here and mowed it, and I missed a bunch of spots. I'm like, geez, no, not quality. I would have fired me, but still. Anyway, you got to make do with what you got, and there's a lot of opportunities. And if you don't look for them, you won't find them. You won't find what you're not looking for. I wanted someone to teach me how to do bricks or masonry units. I got a crash course over the weekend with someone that had to have it done, that could sit there and say, look, it's got to be done right, it's got to be done the first time, and they could just fix it right there. If it's not set right, they pick it up and reset it. I learned about tucking and why the lines between the concrete, how it pushes in and fills all the gaps and all this good stuff. I learned a lot that was never brought up in the videos. I thought the tucking or the drawing your thing between the lines, the tucking, or you smooth it out. I thought that was cosmetic. It's not. And they said, don't ever use your finger to do this, because you could, but don't, because you only got one set of fingers. So I got a tool for it now, but don't pass up opportunities. Make hay while the sun shines, or as I say, do preps and stuff while fuel and materials and time is plentiful. If something bad is going to happen, that's not the time to figure it out. Right now is the weekend, Now, an update on the dog. I know I was going to talk only about prepping on this channel, but I just want to say that the dog is happy. The dog is active. As far as I know, the dog has no pain, and the dog is eating more and more and more. We're feeding her just for health food. It's a wet canned food versus kibble. So this is really high rated on Dog Food Advisor. That I think Tom might be ordered, but Dog Food Advisor. They rate all the dog foods and such. So we're feeding her high quality food, and it's soft, and she's eating a lot. She seems to like stews more. So if we have crock pot, we give her some of that. But yeah, the dog is doing really well, and we're on borrowed time. If you go to my I guess community page, I put up the reports on what we're doing. I gotta go down next week and get blood work for the dog, because we're on the remedial or whatever. It's dog ibuprofen to make sure she doesn't have any pain or anything, but the dog's happy, it's wagging its tail, it's playing. She's more active now than she has been. So, I don't know. And it does look like it's getting a little bigger, but I don't know. I can't really measure it because it's so far in her mouth. It's on the inside. I don't want to grab her jaw and force it open because she's only got bone on one side. I don't want to set things off, and hurt her. So we're going to go to the vet next week and have some blood work done. We'll see how it's working on her. I don't want to shorten her time, but like I said, we're already. They gave us like 3 weeks, and until things got really bad, and a month is out of the question. Well, now we're at a month. We're actually a little longer than a month, but it's like nothing's wrong with the dog. So I don't know. So we'll see what happens. At the very least, I've already got more time than I should have had. So that's good. Things are good, or better, But go out and learn a skill. All right, I babbled on for almost 20 minutes here. I can't think of anything else I really need to elaborate on, but feel free to comment on things, and as I see them, I'll respond as best I can. If you guys got any tips on laying concrete blocks or concrete masonry units that I'm unaware of, post on the comments down here. Say, hey, have you thought about this? Nope, I hadn't. Okay. Like I said, I was gonna just drill through a corner or run it, because one of the blocks I'm going to put down and make a vent out of it at the bottom. And I was going to run a hole through that, so we'll see. All right, guys, have a good one, though. NCP out.